All right, today we're jumping into Decred. It's a cryptocurrency that's, less about the hype and a lot more about a really fundamental question. How can a blockchain be truly run by its community? See, while a lot of projects are out there chasing speed, Decred is completely focused on decentralized governance and long-term sustainability. So let's see how they're trying to crack one of crypto's biggest puzzles.
I mean, this is the big question, right? When you don't have a CEO, you don't have a board of directors, who gets to call the shots? Who decides on the future? Who's going to fix the bugs, approve the big upgrades, or even manage the money? This power vacuum is honestly one of the trickiest challenges in this whole space. And this is exactly the problem Decreed was built to solve from the very beginning. Launched way back in 2016, its creators were looking at projects like Bitcoin, and they saw this potential ticking time bomb when it came to governance. They realized that if you don't have a formal system for making decisions, all that power could just end up with a handful of developers or maybe some really powerful miners. Decreed was designed from day one to stop that from happening.
So what exactly is Decred? Well, it's a layer 1 blockchain, a foundational network just like Bitcoin or Ethereum. But here's its defining feature. Governance isn't some side committee or an informal chat. No, it is baked directly into the code. The actual rules for making decisions are part of the protocol itself, which gives the community of token holders the final say on everything. Okay, so how do they pull this off? Decred's answer is this really elegant hybrid system. It takes two consensus models we all know, proof of work and proof of stake, and smashes them together to create a system of checks and balances. The whole point is to make sure no single group can ever take over the network. And here's how that teamwork happens. First up, you've got your proof of work miners. They're using all that computing power to secure the network and propose new blocks of transactions, pretty much just like in Bitcoin. But, and this is the absolute key, then you have the proof of stake stakers. These are people who own and lock up their Decred tokens, and they act as a second layer of approval. The best way to think about it is like two houses of government. The miners, they're like one house. They do all the heavy lifting, they propose new blocks, but their work is not final until the second house, the stakers, vote to approve it. What this means is miners can't just force through changes or create blocks that the community doesn't like, because the stakers can simply vote them down. It's a pretty brilliant way to keep power in balance. So that's the theory, that's the security model, but how does this actually turn into a real working governance system? Let's take a look at how the community uses this power to make decisions about everything from funding to the future of the project. And look, this is not just some idea on a white paper that gets used for minor stuff. The crucial point here is that Decred's governance system is battle-tested. The community has actually used its power to vote on huge protocol upgrades and to decide how to spend millions of dollars from the project's treasury. It's a system that really, truly works in the real world. All of this action happens on a public platform called Politeia. You can think of it as the town hall for the entire Decred ecosystem. Literally anyone can submit a proposal. It could be for a new software feature, a marketing push, a research grant, whatever. These proposals get debated out in the open by the community, and then the stakers, the token holders, cast their votes to say yes or no. But how is all this work funded? This is where Decred's design gets really, really smart about long-term survival. A full 10% of every single block reward is automatically sent into a decentralized treasury. And that treasury, it's controlled entirely by the stakers through those votes on Politeia, creating a sustainable, built-in funding model from the get-go. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. You've got 60% of the reward going to miners to pay them for securing the network. Then 30% goes to the stakers, rewarding them for validating blocks and for participating in governance. And that last 10%? That goes straight into the treasury. This creates a self-funding, sustainable cycle for future development, all of it directed by the community. Now, this super careful, deliberate focus on governance, it isn't without its trade-offs, let's be real. By choosing to prioritize community control and security above all else, Decred has made very different choices than a lot of the faster-moving blockchains out there. Here's a really clear way to see it. Compare it to Bitcoin. Decred's on-chain governance is this formal, transparent process that's literally written into the code. Bitcoin, on the other hand, relies on off-chain governance. That's a mix of social agreement, developer influence, and what the miners want. And it works, but it can be really informal, it can be slow, and sometimes it leads to pretty nasty debates and even splits in the community. So yeah, the flip side of this conservative approach is that Decred just evolves more slowly.
It doesn't really chase the latest trends in DeFi or NFTs, and that's led to lower market adoption compared to giants like Ethereum or Solana. And what comes with that? Well, less media attention and lower trading liquidity. These are the direct results of choosing sustainability over pure hype.
So where does that leave a project like Decreed? Is it destined to be this solid but kind of niche project for the governance purists? Or could its model actually become the standard for how all decentralized networks should be run in the future? At the end of the day, its fate really comes down to one simple question. What will the crypto market actually value in the long run? Is it going to keep rewarding pure speed and flashy innovation? Or will we see a shift, a move towards valuing the slow, steady, and sustainable growth that can only come from genuine community control? Look, Decred is basically a big bet. It's a bet that sooner or later, having resilience and fair governance is going to matter more than anything else. It shows us a different path forward, one with less noise, less marketing, but maybe one of the most serious attempts at a blockchain that's truly controlled by its users. The only question is, in a world that moves this fast, is true decentralization really worth the wait?